August fusion for Raid Shadow Legends has been announced. SKORID the Halfspawn. Guys, finally he sleeps back giving another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're looking at SKORID the Halfspawn, who drops in Raid on August 1st. This is the new fusion for the month of August. These are free to play. If you need to know how to go about these, there's a couple of videos here on the channel that talk about how to claim all of the fusions for free. First off, this is a traditional fusion, which means they will release some new rares and epics into the game. You'll have to fuse the epic from the rares, and then you'll need 4 epics to fuse SKORID the Halfspawn. That's the way the fusions work. You might get lucky. You might be able to pull an epic and get far enough ahead in this that it could be much easier. But we also have 2 champions that are yet to be announced that will be coming as part of this fusion, a rare and an epic. So we need to look forward to those. Now, when I first saw this and I looked at him, I was like, what the holy hell is that? He's got like this fish face. I can't figure out what is going on. I love the artwork on this. He looks absolutely fantastic. I haven't looked at the skills, nothing else. Just need to have him specifically because of what he looks like. He's a demon spawn. He's attack based, assuming it's going to be decent, but visually that shit's insane. I don't know what the hell's going on. But then we see the video of him and he looks so much better in the artwork than he does in the video. There's too much fire. Originally I saw him and I saw the pictures and thought the Halfspawn, and he looked like some, like the creature from the Black Lagoon, some fish looking, I don't know. I was kind of expecting him to be along the lines of not demon spawn, but you know, skinwalkers. The initially when I saw the image, but then he's demon spawn, and this with all the flames and the fire, he still looks cool, but in my opinion, that looks cooler. Just saying, we'll see how it goes. What he brings to Raid though is a Hydra based mechanic where he is hexing the shit out of everybody. Hex. That's what he brings. So his A1 is a single enemy attack, 50% chance of applying debuff spread effect, taking a hex debuff and placing it on all enemies. So he's not laying down a hex on his A1, but he is spreading hex for anybody that has the hex. If that's the one you're targeting, he can spread it throughout. If the target is not under a hex debuff, we'll spread one other random debuff instead. So depending upon what you've got laid down, his A1 is a debuff spread effect that prioritizes hex. So look at it that way. A2, another A1 or another one enemy hit, but this one has a little bit of a shift to it. Before attacking, places a 50% increase attack buff on this champion for 2 turns, repeats the attack on all enemies under a hex debuff. The attack ignores shields against enemies under a hex debuff as well. So if you're doing a single enemy attack, boom, you hit it, and everybody has hex, then it goes into a single and an AoE. So somebody is getting 2 hits, but it all comes down to whether or not everybody has hex on them. So again, this one isn't laying down hex, but it is an AoE if everyone has hex, and then more importantly, ignores shields against targets under a hex debuff. If we're thinking in terms of Hydra, let's say you've had shields on your champions, they were stolen and spread. Damn head, you know, steals it and then spreads it to the rest of them. It's going to help in that situation, but that's a little bit more niche than anything else. When I come into this and I'm dealing with a lot of shields, I don't even think we're coming up against shields in Demon Spawn Faction Wars, unless as a nuker he's being used in like arena, live arena, tag team, and even Siege now that we're dealing with it. that's a cool mechanic. I like the ignore the shields buff. I don't know if it's, or ignore the shields component to that, but I just don't know how effective that's going to be across everything. But it is an AoE on the down low. Put it that way. All right. A3, Infernal Malediction. God, that's awesome. Infernal Malediction. Just the names on these. Hexpire, Anathema Burst, Infernal Malediction. These sound like subtitles to tracks on a 1996 Sepultura album. I'm loving everything that's coming out of this. Okay, so the A3 is an AoE, but before attacking, places Hex debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So there's your placement. The Hex debuff comes in on the A3, the A2 and the A1 build off of that. Before attacking, places the Hex. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 20% for each Hex debuff placed. So if you're attacking 5 enemies and you place 5 hexes, that is a 100% increase. If we're dealing just with Hydra, it's an 80% increase. That's where his nuking ability comes into play. He's pretty heavy damage. We haven't seen any multipliers or anything on this, but it looks like he could be there for some heavy damage. Heals this champion by 20% of their max HP for each hex that is resisted or blocked, which means this is all going to be based on accuracy. So his build's going to be kind of split for damage and accuracy. Let's see, it's going to be a meticulous build to make sure he's got accuracy and damage coming out of this, because we're getting all of the damage is based on the debuffs that are laying down, but to lay the debuffs down you need accuracy. Fun. And his passive fills the champion's turn meter by 10% when attacking targets without a hex debuff. So he gets a turn meter boost if there's no hex. Will ignore 15% of targets' defense when they are under a hex debuff. So he's a nuker. He is a big hitter. He looks like the half spawn of, I don't know, Pinhead from Hellraiser and the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's weird. Digging it. Even though the footage of him with all the flames and fire is not quite as striking as the footage of him, the rendering, I'm still completely enthralled with his look. This is a champion that I will be collecting, not because he looks like he's going to be a big damage dealer, but because he looks freaking awesome. SKORID the Halfspawn starts August 1st. Now we got to wait for the epic and the rares that get dumped in along with him. This could be quite interesting. Looks like a fusion that I'm going to claim, but I'm going to be happy about claiming. We'll have to see exactly what kind of a build we can get out of this. But I think compared to last month's, the Packmaster, the Puppy Lover, this one looks a lot better. I think more people are going to be more apt to go after a Hex champion than they were the dude who just loves his puppies. All right, make sure you subscribe here on the Raid Shadow Legends channel. Appreciate you guys doing that. It's easy. It does make a big difference here for me. I'm FinallyHeSleeps. Thanks for hanging out and watching tonight. As long as you keep showing up, I'll keep making videos. And while you're at it, check out my other channels here on YouTube as well. FC Mobile, Gearheads, which is my main channel on YouTube. And then for a few laughs, go to the Cringeworthy channel.